Well, if that is not just super unfortunate that I just did that entire 10-minute spiel and didn't have any audio running. So I guess I can go over all that again. Hi, Carl. Thanks for letting me know. Um, Let me know if this audio sounds better now. We'll let you know when we can hear you. Yeah, let me know. Yes, it's working. Well, shucks. I'm sorry that happened. Well, welcome in, Carl. Thanks for letting me know. Congrats on your race today. That's phenomenal. I saw it on Strava. For anybody who's been keeping up kind of with the live streams here, Carl ran a half marathon and he crushed his goal, which is awesome. Congrats to you. A well-deserved day. Man, we are having a tough go on the audio today. Let's shift this out, and now we are, I think, where it should look about normal. Is that better? Am I having just a really tough go at this? Let me know if this is any better here, Carl. That sounds better. Awesome. Well, what a day. What a morning. I've been working basically all night trying to get a video up for you guys, which should actually end up being really interesting. It's the A6 Super Blast versus the A6 Mega Blast. I think the video is going to come out really well. So if I'm tired and a little bit off, I apologize. Anywho, good to go. So I guess I'll go through all that again. What I was saying is this is kind of the speed run on running nutrition. So if we have, we can break it down a couple of ways. We can look at what happens if we have enough carbohydrates. We can take a look at what happens when we have enough calories or not. And really this one is more about the high carb trend that is going on. Lots of people are seeing benefits in increasing the amount of carbs that they're putting in throughout their training and throughout their racing. And then I will be happy to open up any questions or answers or a Q&A to go over anything you may have questions on. And actually, I can't even see the chat from where I'm sitting right now, so we're going to throw the glasses on. Will be a cool video. Looking forward to the comparison video on the A6. I agree. I think it'll be really cool. So, for runners, what do we need to look at in terms of total calories coming in? I guess I don't need these. I'll just move my head forward. There was a glare. I don't want you guys to have to see that. Total calories consumed is relevant because we have a finite amount of stored energy. So when you go run, you have some sort of energy demand put on you, right? So anytime you contract a muscle like this is burning energy. Not a lot, but some. Now, if you think about that on the scale of 10,000 steps on a run, that's going to go through a lot more energy. That's why you see people going ahead and looking at how many calories they burnt on a run and like, man, that's a lot. So we need to replenish that energy. What happens if we don't is the body starts breaking down tissues it has. So if we don't have enough calories, our bodies say, hey, I need energy from somewhere to stay alive, right? So it will pull fat stores, it will break down muscle, it will kind of neglect to repair other things because it says, hey, I don't have the overtime budget to pay for that repair, which is not ideal. So if we go from that idea to running and burning through some of those calories, that is going to require a larger amount of calories to come into the body. which means we really need to be thinking about fueling for running. So not so that we don't run out of fuel as much as so we don't break down all the way. And it's tough because in running, more physical mass generally doesn't make things easier. I'll misquote it, but the field at one of these elite marathons for the men averaged like a weight of 137 pounds. That's not a lot of mass. And that's what I want to be really cognizant of here is I would rather somebody be over fueling a little bit and having a little bit of extra energy than worrying about getting some low body composition for running. Like that is just not what we're trying to do. And that's what's so sad with some of the eating disorders that you hear about with different folks who are running. Like, don't make that the goal. That's not how we need to increase performance. We need to increase performance by giving our body what it needs to heal and repair after hard sessions, after easy sessions, so that you can keep getting better on your own merits, not from like trying to avoid any sort of eating disorder. Or rather, trying to lose extra weight so that you can run faster. It doesn't make sense. So that's calories and why they're important. We burn energy. We need to replace energy so that we can repair what we've broken down when we run. Now, this high carb thing that's going on, I'll start here. Our bodies don't like running out of fuel. Unlike a car, you can run a car just straight down to empty. Our bodies don't work the same way. Our bodies say, we've got enough energy, awesome, we'll do whatever we need. And as you go down, performance declines and declines and declines. And at some point it says, nope, we're done. So it's not out of fuel. It just kind of tells you are. It's what causes, or one of the causes of like mechanical fatigue, where your body just says, nope, we are not giving you any more resources to do whatever the thing is that you're doing. There might be a saber-toothed tiger, and I'm not going to get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. Not in my plan. So it'll reserve some amount of energy in case we need to like flee, basically. So this high carb thing is really interesting. There have been studies for a long time when I was in school studying exercise science. You saw performance increases when you had people like running on a treadmill if they just put a carbohydrate drink into their mouth and spit it out. So they're not consuming anything, they're not getting any extra energy, but it's tricking the brain and saying, oh yeah, here's everything you need from an energy standpoint, even though you're not actually putting anything in. So when we actually do put extra energy in with these carb gels or high carb drinks, we're saying, hey body, here's your fuel tank. We're just literally going to keep this topped off the whole time. And so your body gets comfortable saying, yeah, we'll burn through energy, but it just replenishes, burns through energy, replenishes. And it's more open to doing things, to pushing energy out when it says, I know that I'm going to get replenished here shortly. So in terms of total energy in, what do we need to look at? If you look at the goo packets, they'll say like take a goo every 20 to 40 minutes of exercise. And I think that can be an okay starting spot. But what research is showing is you can push up towards like 100, 120 plus grams of carbs per hour run. And that's like 6 goo packets, or maybe 5. No, it'd be like 6 goo packets per hour. So then you have seen this new segment of like higher carb gels where you don't have to take them quite as frequently as you would have to take a goo, but still get a lot of the benefit from it. So the high carb thing is super real. If you are interested in trying it, slowly step your way up. There's not a lot of well, rather, there is a chance for some stomach discomfort when you are bumping up that much. For me, what I've seen works well for me is doing 100 grams per hour by doing two 50-gram gels, and that's worked well. It has sit well on my stomach. It has been okay on race day, so I think I maybe did it across an hour and 10 minutes, like 35 minutes and 70 minutes. But overall, give yourself time to get used to it, but you could totally do more carbs than you think you might be needing. If you're super unaware of like the whole space, just go grab some goos at your local running store. Try that out. See which ones sit well on your stomach. Like the first time I tried BPN, it didn't sit well, but I have tried it since, and it has since sat well. Same thing with Scratch. I had it like twice, and then it didn't sit right, and that sometimes means it was just the day. Your body wasn't really happy to be absorbing a whole bunch of carbs for fuel. So with that said, sorry, I feel like that went a lot better the first time. But with that said, are there any questions about running in the chat? Is there anything I can answer? For running, I do this totally for fun because I like it. I got my degree in exercise science. I like the running space. I don't have any intentions on making a coaching business out of any of this. So I'm just here kind of to help. If you got questions, drop them in the chat. It doesn't look like there are a ton of folks in right now. So let me know. I'll give it a couple of minutes here. One of the things I said that I missed on the second round talking about the nutrition is I do like filling in my calories. I like starting with enough total calories, but I break it into two. So if we have to hit our whole calorie goal here, I like breaking it into our nutritionally dense calories and then filler if we need. So I want things that have good micronutrients, have good protein, have good fiber, all things that our bodies need just to be healthy people, not necessarily about running. We just need to give our body what it needs. But then we do have an obligation to meet our energy demands. If we hit our energy demands, fantastic. That's what we need. I don't want to throw complete crap at it, but if you eat some extra pasta to finish out your total energy need for the day after eating a salad and having some fruit and a well-balanced, wide variety diet, I'm totally cool with that. Carl asks, or says he has a tough time consuming the gels when he's running, and asks if he should just practice eating while running more. And it kind of depends. Do you mean like it doesn't sit well on your stomach, or you don't like having it, or it doesn't, or like you're trying to choke it down? That'll answer that question, or well, that'll let me answer the question a little more specifically for you, Carl. Generally, it is a skill that you have to practice pushing up carbohydrates. I would say try different options. So if you don't like the gels because they don't go down well, I would say try a carb drink. So you've got, it's kind of nice, especially as it gets hotter. You have a bottle that you can carry in your hand that has water and then some sort of carb mix in it, usually very sugary water kind of stuff, but it'll have electrolytes. Electrolytes can help with keeping appetite around as you have longer efforts. So a lot of good things on that front. Doesn't sit well with me. That is totally a just practice it thing. Start with the minimum dose you think you can handle and not get bothered by. Like, I understand it's super inconvenient to have to stop a run to go to the bathroom. So don't go to that extreme, but whatever you can tolerate, because if you put 1 gram of carbohydrates in, you wouldn't like freak out about that. So if we put 50 in, that is probably too much. If 20 is too much, let's try 10. And then maybe we can increase the frequency that we put 10 grams of carbs in the tank. I think that would be where I would direct you to start first, but it does make a really big difference. I know you're talking about your half marathon, and you really, really can see performance gains, especially as less efficient runners. So that would be myself included. I'm talking about everybody other than the elites who just are so good at oxidizing fat for fuel. They can run really fast for a really long time with relatively low carbs. Some of the elite guys actually do a fasted run so that they produce that adaptation or push more towards that adaptation of working without carbs, so that when they do have carbs, they're even faster. I don't like that for most people. It is just so hard on the body. But, you know, if that's all they're doing with their time and they're able to recover from it, then cool, fine. Not how I'm going to do things myself, not what I'm going to tell other folks to do. Hey, thank you so much for popping in the chat. The Super Blast video has been one of my best performing videos. You can see it right here. Have been absolutely loving the shoe. Today I do I do these live streams every week to just talk about running stuff and answer any questions that you might have, whether it's shoe related or if it's like just running in general related. I don't know if you saw this, but I don't have like a coaching business or anything, but I studied exercise science. I manage a running store. I just really love the space and want to help. And the more people that enjoy running, they're going to tell other people about it, and they get more people outside having fun and moving their bodies. And I think it's just such a net positive on society that if I can do something small like this and get somebody moving in the right direction, I'm so stoked to do anything I can to help with that. Oh, yeah, it's a banging looking shoe. I really, really like it. Looks good, feels good, has potential to be the shoe of the year. I'm probably going to run in it almost exclusively for the next week because it can do so much, so that I can try, well, probably more than a week, but I'm going to push it to 100 miles as quickly as I can to see if I can talk about the longevity on it at all. So far, though, so good. I am also releasing the Mega Blast vs Super Blast video today. I was up until like 1:20 last night editing it, and I still have a little bit of work to do on it, but I'm trying to get it out as quick as I can here. Carl, I honestly, this is the only one you need. You don't need many other shoes if you have the Super Blast. It is truly one of the most comfortable shoes I've had on. Totally happy to go easy miles. I don't know if you saw the Super Blast video yet, but it is going really well. Take a look if you have time for it. But super happy to do easy paces. I've done 8:30 pace, which is a little slower than marathon pace, just like a cruising, I think my heart rate for that was like 168, so below threshold, but felt like I could just smash miles on that. I think it would eat a 20-mile long run. I did the Super Blast Mega Blast comparison yesterday when I was down at 6 minute and 20 mile pace. So that'd be, Carl, for you, that'd be like 350 pace ish. My gosh, it lost a little bit versus the Mega Blast, but still the breadth of what the shoe can do is so good. I think a 2-shoe rotation with that is the way almost anybody could go. You could do a Super Blast and a race shoe and have pretty much everything covered. You did for sure call it. The thumbnail, I got kind of lucky, I think, with a cool color shoe, a good background, and some good spacing. I thought it was pretty neat. So, yeah, if you have any other running questions, shoe questions, I'm all ears. I'm just here hanging out now. Eat enough calories. Oh, the supplements. Man, I didn't even talk about that on the second go around. Shucks. Supplements that I think are actually important for running and in general. Talk to your physician and all that. I'm not a doctor. Creatine monohydrate, really good. Get a quality version of it, but it generally helps with everything from cognition in your daily life to performance and recovery in both distance running, sprinting, lifting, all of the above, actually. Creatine's great. If you are someone who's really interested in running fast for like a 5K, 10K, half marathon, I don't know if it matters as much for a full, but maybe. I'd have to do a little bit more digging. Sodium bicarbonate can be really good. So if you hear bicarb, that's what they're talking about. It helps buffer some of the bad byproducts that come along from hard exercise. So when you're above threshold, you have byproducts of anaerobic respiration, which is just to say, like, if this is your threshold right here, anything above it has these byproducts that accumulate that work towards fatigue. So you can try and avoid that with bicarb. So that's relevant. I like tart cherry juice. There are studies that show maybe a decrease in inflammation. I don't know if it matters. I just put my creatine in it at night, and then it's some extra carbs. If I try something like that, oh, and magnesium. Magnesium can be another good one. But again, talk to your doctor. Those are just a handful of things that I think have some real benefit to them. L-glutamine is not one I'm super familiar with. If I remember right, I think it's a joint one. Let me know if I'm right on that. I don't know enough about it, and I'm not going to talk out of my face and say something that I'm not super sure on. It's just not my shtick. I'm not going to try and say something I don't know. I'd rather just say, I don't know, and I can do a little bit of research for you, because I do think I am relatively good at research. I was actually really close to going to get a PhD after college. I applied to a couple of programs, got matched with a program, but didn't love the professor I matched with. I would have had to be studying something I didn't really want to. There was somebody really cool that was looking at people going into remission from cancer, and I wanted to work with him. I got matched with somebody that was looking at some really important stuff. It was vasodysfunction, but that got like really to the cellular level, which I wasn't quite as interested in. I was more interested in getting people like healthy and moving after a big life event. Yeah, the creatine's crazy. It's definitely one of the most studied supplements, along with like whey protein or casein protein. The creatine's huge. I think the difference is pretty substantial. Would recommend to pretty much everybody. Again, not a doctor, talk to your doctor. But yeah, I love creatine. I think it is really, really beneficial. How long after a run should you get your protein in? I try to go 30 to 60 minutes. I'm not like super hard about it. I think the more important thing is to hit your total protein goal for the day, which can be like 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you hit that, I think you're generally hitting enough muscle protein synthesis that you're not like lacking for it. So every time you put protein in, your body says, oh, cool, I'm gonna snag that, I'm gonna snag that, and then I'm gonna put it into this new thing that we can use to help build for building blocks, because you get the essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids, put them into whatever form you need, and then you can use them as building blocks for the body. So 30 to 60 minutes if you can. I try and put something back in the tank. if I have protein, I would like to do that. But there are carb and protein drinks that help replenish both right when you get done. I love that as an option. You'll usually get some amount of sodium in there as well to replace some of the electrolytes, so sodium, potassium, magnesium. I like that a lot. That is my favorite option if I'm getting to choose. So, yeah, I think that's really helpful. That's what I try and do time-wise. We are drinking coffee. I don't know what time it is for everybody out there. Ugh. But we have an entire carafe filled with coffee to support the day. What should you eat before a race? Great question. I do have an entire half marathon video that I'm actually really proud of where I go through the week leading into my race. And I talk through pretty much everything leading into race day. And fueling is one of the things that I talk about. So, for what works well for me, I get a little bit of the nerves as well. And it's tough because like you don't really have much control. It's like, I just care, so I feel nervous. But I think that's an okay thing. What should you do about it? I try and find something that sits well on your stomach and have it early. So I wake up really early on race day and I do some oatmeal with some brown sugar. That's just a ton of really easy carbs that our body can snag for. And then I try and stay in this easy vein. I was kind of a gym nerd. I lifted a lot through high school, college, and post-collegiate when I was a sprinter. So I love pre-workout. I will mix pre-workout and one of these carb drinks in a little bottle. And then I'm just saying to myself, no, you're just hydrating. You're just putting enough electrolytes in beforehand. And you can get like, the one I use is 70 grams of carbs, which is like a pretty good amount of carbs prior to going. I'll do that about an hour out so I have plenty of time to go to the bathroom, get out anything I need to. And then I like Carbs Fuel because it's a little liquidy. For a gel, like the goo gels are really viscous, very thick, and that doesn't work well for everybody. I like them because they taste good for easy runs and stuff. I don't think they sit as well for faster efforts. Like it's hard to put down, whereas the Carbs Fuel, I can put 50 grams in and rip it really easy. So what should you eat before a race? Something simple and easy to digest. For me, that's oatmeal. For you, it might be toast or a bagel with some like honey on top. Something in that kind of starchy, easy vein, but not like potatoes. Potatoes would be too heavy. And then have some gels with you that you know you like the taste of, that go down well. And you can rip one of those before you start. So before my half marathon, I ripped a 25 gram gel, just so I knew I was 100% topped off. I was going to get to 35 minutes in and have plenty of fuel already in the tank. Yes, I will need all the coffee after a late night of editing because we have more to do. It is 9:39. I have to be at work at 12, and I would love to get the video done and out before that. If not, it'll be out when I get home from work tonight. But 2 nights in a row. Super Blast, 1 day turnaround. Mega Blast video, if I do a 1 day turnaround on that, I would be super stoked. Anybody have any fun runs coming up for the day? I did my bigger run yesterday with that Mega Blast, Super Blast comparison. Ended up doing 7 miles with the comparison. And then I did another 3 in the Super Blast when I was done. So my long run is done. I just have an easy 3.5 miles today myself. Carl went out and got himself a half marathon PR, maybe? It was 1:38 was your time I saw on Strava, Carl. I know the real big goal is sub 90. So where's that place you in your all-time list? Very curious because you did that build pretty fast. And sorry, when I'm sitting here, there's usually just a delay between the camera seeing me, pushing to the stream, pushing out to you, and then waiting for responses. So if I'm ever waiting, I'm not broken, hopefully. PB, let's freaking go. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. So you are due for a nice steak dinner and plenty of carbs, a little bit of recovery, and then back to marathon training for you. Exciting times. So you got your run taken care of. Anybody else still in the chat that is that has a run today or already got one in? Yo, that's so exciting. Got a long run planned for today, but working towards your first marathon in 3 months. That's so exciting. First off, good for you for signing up for it. Have fun with the race. Where is it? And what's your long run look like for today? Sending you all the good vibes. I love it. Anytime somebody's signing up for a race is super exciting. Man, we're just going back for more coffee. Well, I'll give him a minute to reply. If we don't have a whole lot more going on question-wise, I can always fade the stream down for the week. We should be back onto a normal schedule, so Saturday next week should be good to go. So Saturday, 9 a.m. EST is when I pop on here. Definitely bring any training updates. I love the training updates. One of my friends who's normally in the chat had to work today, but he's training for his first half marathon after not running for a while and then running and then not running. And he gives me training updates every day. Obviously, Carl and I talk quite a bit about running and all this stuff. So would love to hear training updates. I think that's one of the most exciting things. If you have topics you want me to cover at the beginning, sorry for the mic not being cut in, but if you've got questions, let me know. If you have topics you want me to cover, I'm more than happy to do it. If it's something I'm not sure about, I'll just go do some research on it. Yeah, super stoked. I'll give it just like a minute or so here in case there are any last minute add-ons. More than happy to keep chit-chatting away, but I kind of covered the things I felt like I needed to for the day. Just taking a look at the chat there. Final calls coming up. Alrighty, I think we'll go ahead and call it there for the day. Thank you as always for stopping by. I love having new folks in the chat. I think it's one of the coolest things, seeing how YouTube can help you reach more people. Thanks for stopping by to everybody who I do know. Thanks, Carl, for helping me in the chat here. Always appreciate it. I will see you guys all either in the Super Blast, Mega Blast video today or maybe next week. Until then, I hope you do all have a super great Sunday. We'll look forward to seeing you later. Bye.